It's recording, Jenny. You can go ahead.
So thank you for everybody who is hopping on. I figured that this would be an amazing way to get to know like our sisters too in this business. But I know that as being witnesses, we are already busy and with juggling life and full-time jobs and family, and then having to add this on, to our schedule. It could seem like challenging. And so I really wanted to interview six people on our team who are amazing leaders, and I really look up to them. And that way you guys can hear what type of circumstances they have and how they're able to run such a successful business. So the first person I want to interview is Jorden. She is a double diamond leader in the company, and so I'm gonna give you the go to just say who you are. And
Hey.
let me get my questions here. I'm sorry.
I know, I don't have the questions in front of me, so I was hoping you were asking them.
I got it. Okay. So, how long have you been like in the business? I already said like what you are, but you can explain a little bit about that too.
So my name's Jorden Crowther. I have been doing It Works since November 5th, 2018. So it's coming up on 10 months. And I'm double diamond. I think I got to ruby within my first month, and then emerald like the second or third, and then by the fourth, in between the fourth and fifth month, I got to diamond. And then the 6th month double. So I've been at double. I'm a ways off from triple, but that is my goal. I've always got my charts out for the next 2 things. So I'm like filling them up, getting them ready. So it's always exciting to me. I love it.
So what does your workload and spiritual schedule look like?
So I am a mom of 3. My kids are 9, 7, and 5. And I work full-time as a massage therapist. I've had my own practice for 11 years. And I've been doing massage for 15 years. So I can say like I'm pretty busy, and I feel like no matter what lifestyle, like we all are busy. If I didn't have kids, I'd be filling my time up with other stuff. So like it's just the season of life we're in. So I don't like pioneer. I'm not working like 15 jobs or anything like that, but I do get myself out in service. I do have a schedule with study and ministry and stuff like that. My husband's an unbelieving mate, but he's an amazing stay-at-home parent. We have 2 kids that have disabilities out of the 3. So it was kind of like essential, whether we were rich or poor, it didn't matter. Like one of us needed to stay home. And being that I had my own massage practice and loved it, and that he loved taking care of the kids, it just worked out really well.
I love that. Why did you join It Works, and how are you able like to fit It Works, this business, in your busy schedule? Because like you're a mom, that's a full-time job already.
Right,
and
right.
Life and everything. So why did you join, and how are you able to work this business?
So I was doing another MLM company, multi-level marketing company, for 3.5 years. A company whose products I totally loved and respected and appreciated. I just was spinning wheels. I was going in circles. I didn't realize how to get ahead. I had no clue because we weren't taught that. Any type of training we wanted, we had to pay for. So all these Zooms, like you doing this right now, Jenny, we would have to like pay for it. It was crazy. And even then, even when I did do that, it still didn't get me. It was just like fluff. Like what we have with It Works is like, nobody's here to yank your chain. Like you are getting stuff done. You are given tasks, you are given income producing activities, and you run with it. You make your own type of thing. So I was doing that, and because I liked the product so much and just kind of got into a rhythm with it, I didn't realize that I was just wasting my time. And I finally like just woke up and was like, oh my goodness, like I'm looking at my good friends Tara and Gretchen, who we were in the same hall together for a while, and like we all live close to each other. And I'm like, they've been doing their business just as long as I've been doing mine, and I ain't going nowhere. And they've been on vacations. They've been paying off their debt twice. They've been spending tons of time in the ministry with their families, super spiritual living. And I'm like staying up till 3 o'clock every morning, like sending out samples to people, like crazy. So I approached Tara. She never, ever, ever, ever tried to take me. She knew I was doing my thing. She never tried. But that's why I respect her so much, because I went to her and was like, can you come over and talk to me about it works? And like, it was perfect. So I needed something in addition to massage without taking more time out of my day. Like, none of us are trying to spend more time working and less time with our family or doing spiritual stuff. So I needed a balance that was going to provide for my family in a smart way, because even with having an awesome practice with massage, I was still not like bringing in the bacon. You know, we were living like bill to bill. So now I have much more time, not living bill to bill, paying off debt, doing what I need to do in this system to survive.
Yeah.
Did I answer the second part of your question?
Yeah, a lot of it, like what challenges did you find, and how did you overcome them? And also, now that you found a routine to do your business, do you find it easier to fit it into your busy schedule?
Okay, you were breaking up a little bit. I'm trying to remember. So, repeat it again. I'm trying to remember what you wrote down. And
So, what challenges did you find along the way? How did you overcome them? And now, do you find it easier to fit it into your schedule than what you thought you couldn't before?
Okay, so yeah, the challenges I found, oh my goodness, I might have ADHD, and I'm not like taking that, I'm not making that a joke. I seriously am like thinking about going to the doctor. I get so distracted, like so distracted. So it's really about training your brain. I've gone to Tara about that many times, like, okay, what do you do? And like, I can put when I'm working on very specific things, I can put my phone in airplane mode. I've trained myself not to answer messages. Like, let's say I'm sending out a chunk of 50 messages. I will not do anything else. I won't look left. I won't look right. I'll just like keep doing my stuff until I've sent out all those 50. And then even if like 10 people are messaging me back, I don't open them until I go. So distractions were hard at first for me, because I got squirrel brain, but it's become, because I've practiced at it, I've gotten so much better at staying focused to the task. That way I'm not wasting my time, because as witnesses, we are all about saving time and being efficient with our time. So if I do power hours or even power 30 minutes and just like zone out, I even am about to buy ear canceling noise canceling earphones, because we're in a tiny townhouse, and anywhere I'm at, if the kids are awake, I can hear them. And then I'm very efficient with like when I'm driving. That's when I do my self-development. I listen to stuff. I've cut out like TV, Netflix, things like that. I don't do that much. If I do, I'm like messaging while I'm doing it. So I'm being much more efficient with my time. So that kind of challenge has subsided, which is awesome.
Well, thank you so much for hopping on and sharing your story.
You're welcome, darling.
Such inspiration to so many people.
I'm going to get back to my group. I'm hiding outside because we're in a big beach house and there's a lot of people and there was no privacy. So I'm like outside in this horrific lighting. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Okay. Now the next person I want to interview is Tara. She is our triple diamond leader. We all love Tara. You're gonna know her as soon as you join. So, okay. How long have you been in this business? I already said what rank you are, but I didn't like mention how much you're making and all that. So just you can start.
Yeah, so I've been with It Works now for 5 years, which is crazy. This is my longest job ever. So So I live in Maryland, but Oklahoma raised. I go to Edgewood congregation. My husband and I just got moved here into this congregation in January. So helping there. It's been really exciting. Yeah, so triple diamond. I went triple diamond in a year and a half after joining. I was working as a licensed esthetician, doing my thing, doing skincare, waxing, that kind of thing, and I just wasn't making enough. So I decided to add on this job to fill in the gaps because Tyler was already working full time, never saw each other. And if I added on another job, that would have been taking away more time away from each other. So I opted to do something on my phone that I could do on my spare time at the salon in between clients. And like I said, 6 months into the job, I was able to quit doing that and work on this full time. My family lives in Oklahoma, and my dad was having a lot of health issues, and I was constantly having to go back there and go back there and go back there to check in on everybody. And my job couldn't keep letting me off. So it was better for me to just focus on it works because I was making more and able to see my family. And then a year and a half into the business, I was able to retire my husband from his full-time job. So we went from never, ever, ever seeing each other to never being apart. And 2 years ago, in next month, it'll be 2 years, we had our son. And my husband's a ministerial servant, and we got to pioneer together. I pioneered for a year. We pioneered together for a year. And then I had my son, so I came off of the list, but I've been able to help support my husband's pioneering. Now he's going into his 4th year that I'm able to support him in doing that. And it's been a huge blessing for our family.
That is what drew me into your post about how you were able to pioneer together. I think that is just a goal that a lot of people do have, as couples, just to work on their spirituality together and still be able to bring in the means, to support your family financially too. But family time is just so important and time flies. So I am obsessed with your story. That's why I joined you. But so how are you able to fit, it works with pioneering, and now that you're taking care of your kid and, your husband's a registered servant, and then like what challenges have you found along the way?
Yeah, everything has been a juggle. Everything has been an adjustment from one thing to the next. When I was starting this business, of course, I was working at the salon. So in between clients, I would be downstairs working this. And when I realized that I was going to be able to quit that job, it was in February, I realized I was going to be able to quit because I was making more money. I set myself a 6-month goal to get myself on the list to pioneer. So I really had to work my head around the idea of pioneering, because I've always worked full time, but pioneering was never ever an option for me. It was always really scary for me to be in the ministry and do that kind of thing. So I had to pray like every single day for Jehovah to give me the courage to pioneer. But in the process, I was working my tail off to make sure that that goal was going to be able to be met, so I could support my pioneering and not have to put extra stress on my husband, since I was going to be stopping at the salon. And, once I did quit, I would wake up in the morning early. I would work some. I would work in the afternoon, try to work out my schedule with pioneering. And then in September, I actually started. And I just worked out a schedule that was really good for me. So I would do a really long day on Wednesday for pioneering, and then on Saturday we would go out and service together as a family. So all the rest of the days during the week, I kind of had free to work my business just like anyone else would with a 9-to-5 job. And I did it. I worked my business so that it would be able to give me the luxury to pioneer, because I know that not everybody's able to do that. And then once my situation shifted again, 2 years into pioneering, I came off the list because I got pregnant. My son was born in September, so I wasn't going to start the year off in the deficit, not being able to go out and service because I couldn't walk. So I decided to come off of the list and focus on being a mom and continuing to support my husband. And that was a huge shift, because I went from literally never sleeping again and having a human that was totally dependent on me and living off of fumes. But because it was something that I had already worked so hard for and like established, like it was something that was really important to me and I made it work. So when he was taking his nap, so in the beginning they sleep a lot. If I needed to, I would take a nap and get one in myself so that I had the mental energy to work. And then later in the day when he was taking another nap, I would work my business. Having an amazing team, one, helps because it pushes you, it thrives you. We have such a good bonding connection. If I'm like, I'm so tired, guys, please someone hop on a Zoom with me and work with me. Anybody, please, I need help. And you guys were like always right there. So we're like always there to push each other. And then there would be times that I just had tons of energy. So I would get a ton done. But on days when I didn't have the energy, that was like the perfect thing about being your own boss and running your own business. Like you could take that time, do what you need to do, recoup, and then get going again. So I've always just shifted my business around what's ever going on in my life. And now that I have more energy because he's sleeping through the night, he's almost 2. During the day, it's more of a struggle because he's jumping off of furniture. So I have to make sure I'm working during nap times, work before he wakes up, work when he goes to bed. So I'm working like little 30-minute chunks, 45-minute chunks, hour chunks, a couple times a day to still get the same amount of income in.
I love your story. I love how you're able to do this and not make any excuses and just make it work and still let your husband, serve y'all full time and making that sacrifice too. But thank you so much for sharing your story. Now I am going to interview Catie. She's another person I admire. Where's she at? Hey, girl.
That's too much face.
Well, you do have the questions, right, in front of you?
Yep.
Okay, so I guess you can just go on and, let it flow, who you are, what rank, and all of that.
Okay, 5 minutes. So let's wrap this up. All right. Hi, guys. I'm Catie. If I haven't met you yet, I have been in the business for 1 year and 5 months. I am a diamond and I'm in Texas. So basically, the reason why I joined was because at the time, my husband and I struggled bad financially. So I was always striving for something better. I had great jobs that paid well, but when you got you don't get that fulfilling sensation at your job. That's how that's how it's always been for me. So I always wanted to be my own boss. And then of course, spiritual things. My husband and I are doing better now than ever before. So we always wanted that to be at the forefront. So we had jobs that really didn't allow us to prioritize the right things because we were working so much to basically not make anything extra. So we were strapped financially. We never got to go out with our friends because we were pretty much embarrassed. We couldn't afford certain things. So for us, it was really more so for me, it was like, okay, I got to step up and do something different. So that the place I was at when I joined, it was really more of like, okay, you're on the struggle bus, but we got to get off this bus. So I was watching Jenny and I just followed her for a long time. I spent about 8 months kind of pondering doing this. And it really helped me when I saw that she was able to do things month by month. I wasn't interested in the get rich quick scheme. So nothing about her made me believe that's how my outcome was going to be. I knew it was going to be maybe something a little bit slower, but something that I could really have for the long haul, which is what I really cared about. I don't mind working. I just didn't want to work for someone else's dream, making minimum wage. So I really, really reached out to her. I answered all of the questions that I had. She answered all the questions that I had. And we got together and we sat down and I felt like this was a great decision because I had a passion for health and wellness. And I thought, well, these products are perfect, perfect for my lifestyle and maybe even better than what I've currently been doing. So that's kind of why I started. And then let's see here. I do have some notes just because I get kind of off track, but I knew I wanted more. So income was one thing, but once I joined, I realized okay, there's a sisterhood here with other people that I thought were amazing that, we don't necessarily get to meet each other face to face, but I would much rather pick my coworkers than to have to go out into the world and deal with, what you have to deal with out there. So it was really kind of just everything. I don't know. It just, everything came together in like the 1 month that I started, where I was like, this is it. Like, this is it for me. So what I did was I worked my butt off my first month, and I had so much just zeal and excitement, and I was able to cut back at work. So that's what was really cool, is I went from working full time to being able to go part time, because I worked my business and viewed it like a livelihood. I didn't view it as a hobby. I didn't view it as just some fly by night thing that I just spent $40 on or whatever. I really took it seriously. So spiritually, what we did too was, whenever I was able to cut back part-time, my husband had changed jobs as well. So financially, we were getting better. Not perfect by any means, but anytime he would have like a day off during the week, or of course weekends would come up, we would spend our time in the ministry. And so I feel like that brought us closer together in our marriage. It helped us spiritually. And when you put Jehovah first, everything else falls into place. Just so he takes care of you that way. But yeah, that's kind of why I joined It Works. And then as months went on, I was able to promote myself and my husband's account. And when you join, you'll figure that out. You can enroll your spouse and work with their account. So that also increases your pay. And I realized, if I could start this and replace my husband's full-time income, that would be amazing. And that's kind of my goal, is to be able to do that, so he doesn't have to slave like he's doing right now every single day of his life. And there's always challenges when it comes to myself. I've had challenges with just family. We had a loss in our family. We've had multiple health issues within our family. We've had trips to the hospital. And that's what took a toll on me. Is emotionally, I was like, emotionally, am I going to be able to keep up with this business? Because I don't, anything is true about me, it's like family is absolute first. And going through different things like that, I really had to put into perspective what I have at hand. This business, it's on the go. You get to take it with you wherever you go. If you're at the McDonald's parking lot and there's Wi-Fi, you can run your business. If you're at a hospital, you can run your business. But I knew no matter what challenges I faced, that I did not want to have to go back to that corporate America lifestyle where you have to show up where you don't get a paycheck. And so that's really what helped me to see, like, no matter what challenges we face, like, this business is what I need for my emotional, spiritual, and physical situation. And basically the next question on here is like, how do I fit this in my busy schedule? Yes, we are always busy. It doesn't matter what walk of life we're in. All of us have things going on. So as I mentioned before, I view it as a livelihood. This is not a choice. I wake up, and if I want to make a paycheck, I have to work, right? If we don't work our business, what are we doing? So it's a matter of messaging, following up, enrolling teammates, enrolling customers. And honestly, it's the same thing every day. It never changes. It never gets harder. It never gets easier. It stays the same. It's just a matter of if we're going to show up or not and do the job. So I fit it in. I fit it in wherever. Sometimes, like Tara mentioned earlier, there's days where you're exhausted and you're sick and you get 20% done. But then there's days where you get 120%. You just did all of the things. You feel amazing about it. You had a great day. You did all the enrollments. And that's how the business is. But that's the great part about the flexibility that you have with it, is you are able to have your bad days, but then you're able to get over them and have your great ones too. And no one's going to want this more than you. So you're the one that gets to step up and prove it to yourself that you can do it. And let's see here. The routine that I have now, I was able to quit my job. So because of this business, I was able to put this business kind of into perspective in my mind and think this is going to be my full-time gig. And so I worked it. I went to conference. And those of you that don't know, conference is a huge event that you cannot miss if you're in this business. It is amazing. And after that business, within 3 months, I promoted my account to Diamond. And that was enough income, with my husband's account being at Emerald, that was enough income to be able to quit totally my job. Am I rich? No, but that's not what I'm striving for. I'm striving for a lifestyle that is good for my husband and I's spirituality, and for us to be in a happy marriage. That's it. And honestly, at this point, the fact that I'm home as much as I am, like I could cry, but it's so beautiful being able to like see your spouse, like in times when you think like a year ago, like I wouldn't have been where I am today a year ago if I hadn't said yes. And so I'm like, woo, it happens, guys. It's emotional, but it's like really beautiful too at the same time. So you have to think really what your why is, figure that out. And I promise you, when you put it to prayer and you really put forth the effort, you're going to see everything pay off in the long run. That's it, guys.
You better make everybody cry on this Zoom. That was super emotional. I love you so much, and I'm so glad that we're doing this together. But we have to like speed it up here because we only got like 9 minutes left on the Zoom. So I'm gonna go to Catherine. Let's see, where are you? Hey, girl. Okay, so you can just go on ahead. I can't hear you though.
How about now?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, you can go on ahead.
Hold on. Hi, I'm Cathy, and I start It Works about December of 2018. And the reason why I started It Works was because I was about to get engaged, and I really needed something to help me with bills and also a debt that I had. So I started it, and it has been amazing. But just to go backwards, I actually started It Works, and so that I can actually tell you the story. I started It Works in August, and I only lasted a day. And I only lasted a day because I didn't have the support that I had when I started in December. A lot of my friends did not support me. They gave me comments like, oh, it was a scam, or are you sure about this? And it was just like, I didn't have the support. So in December, when I really saw myself in a hole and I really needed it, I decided to I decided to start It Works with Sadai. But I was looking at Sadai for 2 years, and after 2 years, that's when I decided to join. I am a very busy person. I actually work at Bethel. I commute 2 days at Bethel, Thursday and Friday. I just got married, and it's been about 3 months that we've been married. My husband also got named as a elder. So being married, him being an elder, and also just pioneering, and also having a secular job also just makes it more complicated to have a set schedule for It Works. What was the other question, Jenny? So that's a little bit about me. I'm also a Ruby, and I became a Ruby in about, I would say, like 3 months after I joined It Works.
I love it. How, like, you already like talked about what you overcame, but now that you like found a routine and you were able to promote to Ruby Leader, do you find it easier to work It Works around your schedule right now? Because I know you just had Pioneer School too, and you still worked your business during that time. So
Oh yeah. So I had Pioneer School last week, and first of all, I started off the week horrible. Like everything was not going right. But with Pioneer School, you're in a class. I think it was like 8:30 to 5, and you can't be using your phone. So obviously, I used I think it was like 15-minute break that we had. If I saw like a message on Instagram, I would look at it, I would think about it for like a second, and then I respond to the person, or I would respond to the person saying like, hey, can I message you after 5 because I'm in a class? And then obviously the person would be like, of course. And then for my other things that I do during the week, like secular work, I work in a barber shop Monday through Wednesday. So it's easier for me to have a client and then have like a break of 20 minutes. So every time I have a break of 20 minutes, I'll just work. I'll post something, I'll message someone, I'll talk to Sarai of like, what can I do next? Sometimes I've joined Zooms, and then whenever a client comes in, I'll just shut it off. Also, sometimes when my boss or my coworker is not there, like for example, I always open up. I always have that alone time, and I always end up either studying for the meeting or studying for whatever, and then I'll do a little bit of it works as well. And then on Thursday and Friday, how I commute to Bethel, I definitely have like lunchtime for an hour, and I will work during that lunchtime as well. And that's how I do it.
I admire you so much, especially we just had, our meeting about, what are the qualifications of a Bethelite and everything. And it's just, I love, how you're still able to do this, but Jehovah always comes first in everything we do. So love it. Thank you so much, Cathy.
You're welcome.
All righty. Let me see about my time here. Okay, so we can go to Monica. And if you can just come on, unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hey! All righty, girl. What you have the questions in front of you?
You didn't give me the questions.
No way.
No.
I am sorry. Okay, well, let me ask them. So, how long have you been with It Works, and like, what rank are you, and what does your workload and your spiritual schedule look like?
So, I have been with It Works since the end of November. I was Jordan's first distributor. I joined like 3 weeks after she did. So, I've been with them since December. I think I promoted to Ruby in May. I think, if I'm if I'm right, and I am getting closer and closer to Emerald, so that's very exciting. So my workload has really shifted, and the whole goal of me joining this business was because I was gone way too much from home. My mom has MS; she's in a wheelchair, so like getting her out and about, trying to help her go in the ministry, like all these different things is difficult. I pioneer, and then I work roughly 25 hours a week secularly. With numerous different jobs. So the whole goal of this job was to be home more and to not have to dog sit as often to make extra money. And that I have managed to make that income so far, which is really nice, to replace the dog sitting. And so I'm slowly chipping away at hours of work and all of that other stuff. So I'm able to fit it in randomly throughout the day with all of those things.
Did you mention you're a pioneer? Did you mention that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I think so.
Well, you're a pioneer.
Yeah.
So, what challenges have you found along the way, and how were you able to overcome them?
So one of the biggest things was, because I was a nanny, I had to work from 1 to 6 every single day, which meant that I was going out in the ministry at least like 3 to 4 mornings a week. Well, actually, I was working secularly one other morning. So I had 4 mornings per week that I could get my time, which would mean doing early morning too, if I was going to get my time. So juggling doing early morning with doing this business, fitting that in, that was the biggest challenge. That's one of the reasons that I managed to change my schedule. But before I did that, I was just waking up early. I was waking up at 6 o'clock so that I could get ready, do an hour of It Works, and then start my early morning letter writing. So it was just a balancing act of all of that. I'm forgetting what the rest of the question was now.
Like, how did you overcome it?
Yeah. The challenges. Yeah, so just figuring out a good schedule, because scheduling in personal study was a huge part of that. And that was such a tricky thing. So listening to things while I'm driving, while I can't be working, listening to things while I get ready, like listening to my Bible reading, all of those things. Okay.
All right.
So do you have any challenges with the business or challenges with the schedule?
Just like challenges that, being able to juggle everything that you have going on in your life. And I know you just went to international convention in another country,
right.
And how to be able to fit all that, because you worked every single day.
So that is the trickiest part for me, is getting my head in the game when I'm gone, because I travel so often and my schedule is never the same. So being gone and knowing I still need to make a paycheck, because that's the whole point of this business, and getting my head in the game is the biggest part. So taking pictures, posting stories, that's easy for me. I love sharing. I probably share too much with my Instagram community. Like, I love that part of it. It's the messaging part that's the most difficult. So what I did while because I was away for 2.5 weeks, and the international convention part was like so exhausting. And I know like a few of the other girls are going to be going too. I woke up early. I sent out messages first thing in the morning. And then I turned my phone onto airplane mode during the convention, because I had already heard the convention and I was tired, and I knew I would be tempted to answer messages during the convention. So airplane mode was my friend. But yeah, just taking random moments. You know, we were on the train and I had data, so I used it, and I sent messages while we were on the train. Every random moment that I had that I wasn't going to be rude by doing it, I would do it. And I documented things for my trip that I wouldn't have documented probably if I just had a personal account. I was recording everything and putting it on my story, because I got so much interaction from my followers. I've had way more interaction from my followers since I got back. So it's fun to turn a challenge into a benefit by being gone and sharing as much as you can with them to make them feel like they're your friend and like they know you. But yeah, definitely the messaging part was it's always my biggest struggle. So being gone, that was definitely a struggle. But yeah, just doing it in the random moments, or instead of scrolling through Instagram when I was going to bed, making sure that I was being purposeful while going to bed.
Yeah. Well, I loved all your posts and everything you shared. Well, it was a different country too, so that was like the coolest thing.
Right.
So now that you found like a routine, is it easier for you to fit this business in your schedule?
Yes, because I'm thinking about it more. And like, because my life is constantly a different routine, I've had to find my it works routine as far, and like figure out how to make it work with whatever life throws my way, because things happen all the time. So it's my routine mostly is just being aware of the moments where I can work. Like sitting in the doctor's office with my mom the other day, I was working in the waiting room, you know. So just finding the moments. That's really the biggest thing for me. It's just, that's the part of the routine that I've gotten used to, is taking the time when I have it. You know, the baby that I nanny for, while she's falling, she was laying on me, she was sleeping, but I couldn't put her in a crib yet. So I was like holding her and like messaging at the same time. So that's the biggest part of making it easier. It's just, you remember it. It's a part of life.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for doing this. It's fun.
I love it. So now I'm going to interview Italy. She is the last one who I'm going to interview. If you can just unmute yourself. Where you at, girl? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Do you have the questions?
I don't have the questions, but I kind of
Okay.
wrote down the answers. So I don't know if you want to ask them or just kind of go with
You
the
can
flow.
just go on ahead and start, and yeah, go from there. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. So hello, everyone. I'm Italy, and I live in California. I started the business in May 7th, so I'm going on my 4th month in September. So that's super exciting. I was able to rank Ruby by my 1st month. By June, I was already a Ruby. It took a lot of work, but it was definitely worth it. And I'm a regular pioneer as well. My husband is also a regular pioneer and ministerial servant. So we have very busy schedules because both of us still work full time. How we do it, I have no idea. It's all thanks to Jehovah. But something that has definitely helped me or in the business is finding a good schedule staying organized and being self-disciplined. I joined the business because I came across Jenny's page, and I always prayed to Jehovah for an opportunity to be able to be able to quit my job or make enough money so that I can go part time, because I felt like most of my time, even though I was pioneering and we're very active in the congregation, I still felt like I wanted to do more. Like, I never wanted to look back and feel like, because I'm only 22 and I'm already married and doing all these things. So to me, like, I feel like my life is going at a very fast rate, you could say, a little too fast sometimes, I feel. So I was kind of like, okay, I need something where I don't want to look back and regret that these are my best years, like I'm healthy, you know. So I really always wanted to do more for Jehovah. My husband and I applied to do the metro work and do construction of other kingdom halls around our area. So it's very exciting. We have a lot of plans and goals that we set for ourselves, but it always came down to the fact that if one of us went part-time or if one of us stopped working, we were gonna be super tight on money. Probably wouldn't even be living paycheck to paycheck. Like, that wouldn't be an option because we would be so broke. California is so expensive. So thanks to Jehovah, I came across Jenny's page. I was very intrigued because I was always thinking, like, I need to find a different way to make at least like an extra, $50 a day, or like something, just something extra. Like, and so I was messaging with Jenny, and I just kind of was very skeptical about what she was telling me because it sounded too good to be true to me. I was just like, this girl cannot be making money from her phone. Like, but at the same time, I was like, but she's a witness. So, like, why would she be doing this if it was like a pyramid scheme, or if she wasn't actually be making money? Like, why would she lie? So I was definitely intrigued. It was after my husband and I had done family worship. And that family worship, I'm like, I really don't want to cry because I did that on the first Zoom. I was doing family worship with him. And even though I'm married, my husband and I really help my family out a lot financially. Even though both of my parents work, they struggle a lot financially. And I just never I don't have the heart to be well or stable myself and not give to them. So we've always managed to be able to help them. So again, going part-time was not an option for me, because if I did that, not only was I going to suffer with my husband, but so was my family. So I remember that we were studying about how much we wanted to do more for Jehovah and talking about our goals. And I just couldn't stop crying. I started crying uncontrollably because I felt stuck. I felt like I had to work because that's what we were meant to do, to cover our bills, to just get by. But we prayed to Jehovah, and I was like, okay, I just want something that's gonna just give me something. And so that's when I came across Jenny, and then I started talking to her, and I talked to my husband, and I was like, this seems too good to be true, but this also seems like a way out and like an answer to my prayers. So I'm just gonna give it a shot. And I remember that I think Jenny was already asleep, and I kind of messaged her. It was really late, and I was like, I'm ready to do this, like, sign me up. And she was so helpful the next day when she was able to help me enroll. And I was basically doing what you'll hear a lot of leaders or a lot of people say, that they were like ignorance on fire, because you have no idea what you're doing, but you want this to work for you so bad that you're just like, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna use all my resources. So that's what I was trying to do. So I was like, okay, this is either going to be the best decision I made because it's really going to help out my family, or I really just, there's something that I'm going to regret. So I gave it my all because I was like, well, I'm already here. I'm going to try to work my business. And I just dedicated the time. Like I mentioned before, I have a lot going on. So for me, I had to figure out where to fit in my business. And some struggles that I encountered at the beginning where was trying to find the balance between my spirituality and going to meetings, preparing, going to service, and still being able to message, interact. So I'm not a morning person at all. So I sacrifice some time in the morning before I go to work. I work 9 to 5. So I wake up at least an hour earlier than I did before, which is a huge sacrifice for me. And I started doing that. And so I work my business like a good 30 to an hour in the morning. And then the whole day, I mean, I'm basically at work. During lunch, I try to message people back here and there, but at the same time to keep my sanity and some me time, I'll like just eat my lunch and just take it easy. And once I'm out of work, I'll sit in my car for a good 10 minutes before I like on my way home, because as soon as I get home, I have to like I already have my clothes laid out to go to service because I have to do my hours as well. So sit in my car for like 10 minutes, home to work. My husband's already waiting for me and we're ready to go do like cart witnessing or like studies. And we just kind of go from there. I squeeze in the business wherever I get, Jehovah's always my main priority. So I always try to just, I guess, find the balance. And before I go to sleep, rather than stalking like the Kardashians like I used to, or like wasting my time, I message people back and they because I'm so open about like my lifestyle that I'm like pioneering and that I work full time. I feel like people understand when I message them a little late because they get that I'm so busy. It's not like me just saying, I'm sorry, I'm so busy. Like they can see that I'm like doing all these things. And because I've been so open about that, rather than people, like people, I always have a lot of people praise me for that. Like, oh, like, how do you manage to do it? So definitely always be open about your story. Like if you're a mom or if you're like a wife, if you go to school, like if you're regular pioneering, because people need to understand that even though you live a busy lifestyle, whenever you want something, you're going to work for it. You're going to make it happen no matter what. So that's something that I kind of struggled with at the beginning. I felt like I was on my phone too much and like it was taking away things like from my service. So that's where I figured out a schedule and I was like, look, I've been pioneering for like almost 6 years. So it was like I need to stay organized. It's just the same thing, just staying organized, relying on Jehovah, and being self-disciplined. Because a calendar is gonna do you no good if you have no self-discipline. You can spend hours working on a super awesome calendar before the month starts, but then by like the second, you're like, I'm not gonna do anything. So
Right.
you literally have to stay organized and ask Jehovah to give you the strength to keep going, because there's days where I'm so tired and I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I mean, I push through. That's why I am where I am. Even though I'm a Ruby, I'm making way more money than the average Ruby, which I'm so happy about and fortunate to say, because that's been such a big difference in my family's life. And another struggle is that I just want to throw out there, never trying to be negative, but people are always going to have something to say about you. I had a lot of people, judge me for making this decision, even though they didn't understand my circumstances or the reasons why I was doing it. I want you guys to remember that there's a lot of people who are not educated about what we do. We weren't even educated about what we did. I was skeptical before joining. So I don't blame people for, thinking that what we are doing is a pyramid scheme. They just have to get informed. So just keep that in mind and, always look like let the positive outweigh, like I guess I forgot how to say it. Let the good outweigh the bad.
Yes.
As Jenny and Tara know, I'm like, this was such a difficult month for me. I had so many like trials coming at me, and I experienced the death of a loved one for the very first time ever in my life. And yet I was still able to work my business and maintain my rank and help other girls in my team who really just texted me and were like, I'm ready to take this business to the next level. And I focused on like the good. If anything, my grandpa passing away, rather than it being something sad, which it is, having Jehovah's like hope really like just comforted me. And having this business as a backup has allowed me to be like, okay, mom, like you don't have to go to work. Like I'll give you the money that you need, to be able to like stay home and just grieve, because it was her dad. So to think that I was able to do that is like crazy to me. And another reason why I'm so thankful for this business to Jehovah is because I still work full time. So I literally only had like 2 days to grieve my grandpa. It was like, okay, back to work. Like, we need you here in the office. And so to me, seeing the bigger picture and seeing that if I rely on Jehovah and keep putting him first, and that if I dedicate myself to working the business, that this can replace my full-time income, and I'm gonna have like as much time in my hands as I want to do other things, is what like truly blows my mind. Because I am a deep believer that like your time is way more valuable than anything that anyone can pay you, because you just will never get it back. So yeah, that's, I feel like I'm just rambling, so I don't know if you want to cut me off.
Thank you much. I you're just someone, you know, that I do look up to as well, overcoming everything that you did, and still being able to work this business and have, you know, Jehovah number one, and then with all your family issues going on, like you still made it work. But thank you guys so much for hopping on. We're gonna stop the Zoom because we just had 6 amazing stories. And I really do hope that whoever invited you here, that you guys can get in contact with them and, you know, talk more about the business opportunities that they offer to you. And we're all sisters here. So it's a sisterhood, just like Catie mentioned. So it's a beautiful team that we have, and I could not have asked for anything better. Like, this is literally the best team. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your night, and thank you for hopping on.
Bye.
Bye.